ready to go ahead and get started. My name is Misty Corns, and I also have Liz Gibson on with me today. Liz, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi everyone.
So Liz is going to help me out with some questions. Hopefully I get lots of questions from you guys today. Definitely keeps these more interesting. So do type your questions in the chat window, and we'll definitely address those maybe throughout the webinar, maybe at the very end, but we'll definitely address the questions. So today we're going to be reviewing the release that actually occurred last week. Today we're going to be spending some time just going through some highlights and kind of some hot items that was released. I do appreciate you guys joining. We know everybody's super busy. I do plan on this webinar taking a little less than 30 minutes, so hopefully you'll get a little bit of time back into your day. And again, we're just going to be reviewing those highlights, but as you guys check out your email, hopefully you've received an email with a link. And it's a link to the release, the full release notes. Take a look at those full release notes. There's a lot of cool stuff happening with the system. And we just want you to kind of be aware of what all is taking place in the system. Okay, so today I'm going to be using a demo company. Keep in mind that my demo company is going to look a little different than yours, and all of that is based on the security permissions, the modules that I have turned on, and as well as like some dashboard features that I may be using that you might not be. Okay, so if you have questions, you see something that you're interested in, definitely reach out to your CSR. They can give you some direction on kind of next steps or help roll out some of these features. Okay, one more thing before we get into the topics today. This webinar is geared toward more of admins, but if you're not an admin, if you're a manager, feel free to stay on and just listen in. You'll definitely still get some value. We will be going into just a little bit of some settings today, not a whole lot, but again, more geared toward your admins. So we'll go ahead and jump right into what we're going to be reviewing today. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is just some minor changes with the acquisition of Beyond Pay by CBiz. And then we'll get into some timesheet and HR enhancements. We'll touch on some new updates for the saved lists, as well as the Broadcast Communicator that was rolled out some time ago. And then we'll just kind of touch on some improvements that's been made to that cool My Team widget. Okay, and so let's jump right into the first topic, which is that acquisition. Nothing, too major, but what you're going to notice is maybe some updated logos. So you see at the bottom of this screen, there's centrally HR. You see a CBiz logo. So get kind of used to these logos. You'll start to see more. So that's a little bit of an update. And we've always used the word workforce ready. That's not going to necessarily go anywhere, but you may also see the description called CHR, which goes hand in hand with that centrally HR. So those are one of the same. System's not changing, none of that. It's just you might see the wording of it a little bit different. And the Beyond Pay email addresses, we're all getting new email addresses. So you'll start to see CBiz emails from Beyond Pay employees. Just kind of make a note of that. Maybe add us to your approved email addresses. And with the acquisition, Beyond Pay has access to a lot more services and products with CBiz, so lots more information coming out about additional services and products that you guys are going to have access to. So we're excited about that. All right, so just kind of moving on, let's get into the system and take a look at some of these cool features that have been rolled out. So I'm just going to flip right into the system, and I'm going to be logged in as a company administrator with the highest level user ability, access to all employees, access to all modules. okay? And we're going to jump right into those timesheet enhancements. So I'm on the time tab here that's configured in my demo company. And you see I have a chart here that's built for all timesheets. I could click into this and get to all of my timesheets for this period of time. Now, this is not new. This has been available since the charts have been rolled out. But if I wanted to go in the long way, just a little bit of a refresher, under the hamburger menu, I can still go to timesheets, and current, and get to current timesheets. So just wanted to review that with you kind of quickly. I'm going to try to stick with some shortcuts, so you'll see, maybe learn some shortcuts that you didn't know about. So we'll start with clicking into the All Timesheets report. And I want to focus on an employee named Michael. Okay, so we're actually going to go into his edit timesheet. Okay, so one of the enhancements that we're going to talk about first is right at the top of our screen here. And this is the timesheet metrics. Okay, so you can see, I can see total regular hours, overtime hours for this particular timesheet, time off. I even can see my vacation balance. Okay, and all of this is configured in the timesheet profile. Okay, we're going to actually take a look at that in just a second. Couple other things I just want to point out before we get into that timesheet is notice the organization of this timesheet. You see time off is here in the middle of the screen, sort of. Job and department is here with job to the right. Remember, my schedule's all the way over to the right. Just kind of keep this in the back of your mind. This can now be changed. Okay, big hot item, which we're going to talk about. So shortcut I love to use is this little I up here. If I click on this, I can get into some shortcuts. I can see the employee's timesheet profile here, and I can actually click on this. Now, you may or may not have access to see this, or maybe you can see this, but you can't make any edits. That's okay. Definitely reach out to your CSR for any questions or any changes that you want made to your current setup. But right here on the right-hand side, you see timesheet metrics, and there's 4 options, okay? These are those 4 totals that you are able to see at the top of the timesheet. Now, these are very configurable. You can move them up and down depending on how you want these to look. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a view of just how configurable these are, so you can start thinking about how your company might be able to use this to give you and your employees some insight without having to scroll on the timesheet. So here we have the type. I'm using a counter-based, but I could show the accrual-based, or maybe I'm tracking attendance on employees with exceptions. You can use the exception-based, or maybe a time entry-based. And depending on which one of these you select, you will get additional options here. Okay, so this is some, this is the setup of this counter-based. Let's take a look at this vacation time off balance one. You can see, I chose the accrual, and then I get to choose which type of time off I want to show to the employee. So if I wanted to show sick, I could use one of those 4 sections to show my sick balance if I wanted to. So this is, again, just to give you an idea, or kind of like start you thinking about how you might be able to use this at your company. Okay, so moving on to the next part of what I wanted to cover related to timesheets, which is that organization of the timesheet. So scrolling down a little bit, we have the time entry collected data. Typically, we build this out during implementation for you, and it's kind of a set it and forget it. But now with this enhancement, if you've ever thought, hey, I don't really like how my timesheets are structured, I wish I could move this field around, you can now. So here is the example, a couple examples I used, job and department. So if I wanted job to the right of department, then I can just move these up and down with these arrows. If I wanted the schedule way up at the top, then I could just arrow up until that is at the top, which would then be all the way to the left of the timesheet. So big hot item. I'm excited to tell you that this is now available. All right, so now I want to scroll up and let's talk about time off request features. So again, this is generally set up during implementation, but I wanted to touch base on this because it is a new enhancement and it might be pretty useful with COVID things going on. So time off settings here related to time off requests. So that's kind of where we're going to focus right now. So I'm going to go into this time off request profile, which is controlling how an employee requests time off. Okay, it looks pretty busy. I'm just going to focus on a couple areas. So here's the emergency family medical leave, all of those time offs, and these are the rules that are associated with that. You could actually now have an employee attach a document. This has actually been available for a couple releases now, but what's new with this release is you can actually require that document. Maybe the family medical leave is not one you want to require, not a big deal. Maybe sick is. So as you can see down here, I have sick is requiring. So if someone requests sick time, they have to attach a document. So you can do either or. So you can just have the employee attach a document but not require it. That's that scenario here. And you can, have these settings based on the actual time off request type, as you're seeing kind of how I have these. You can also do a company-wide setting if you wanted to, where an employee, they can attach a document for any time off request, but they're not necessarily required to. As you see here, we don't have that box checked. Okay, so let's kind of see this part in action as far as the time off request. So to do that, I'm just going to come up to the hamburger menu, and this time I'm not going to use a shortcut. There is a shortcut on the dashboard to do this, but this time I'm just going to come into the single person icon, and I'm going to go to my time, time off, and request. So from here, I'm going to we'll choose sick, since we know those settings do require a document. So we're going to choose the 18th for a day off. Once I start the request, there's a kind of a little, I don't know what this is called right off the top of my head, but there's a little schedule, if you will, that says if there's any restricted time. In this case, this day is not restricted as far as being able to request it off, and there's no time frames in between that's restricted from requesting off. So this is new with this release. Kind of helps employees know if they can truly request off right from the screen too. Request type is whatever is chosen, but notice there's a red asterisk here. Okay, in this red asterisk, if I were to try to submit, because I haven't uploaded a document, it doesn't allow me to submit. It's grayed out. I can't even click on it. So when I'm ready to go ahead and upload that document, I just choose it from my computer, the document from my computer, and I upload it, and then I can submit the request. Okay, and again, it all is based on the type of time off. All right, Liz, I'm going to pause for a second to see if we have any questions.
Doesn't look like we have any questions. Just a quick reminder, if you do, you can type those into the chat box or in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. But I think we're doing good so far.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's jump right into some HR enhance.
Misty, I take that back. I do have a question for you.
Okay, perfect.
Can we do a mass edit for all employees to change a request form?
So when you enter when you make the change in the timesheet profile, it automatically updates all employees assigned to that timesheet profile. So you don't necessarily, if I understood that question right, you don't necessarily have to mass edit an employee. It's more of making the change on the profile, and the rules associated with that profile follow to the employee. I hope that answered that question.
I think so. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And Liz, just interrupt me if we get any other questions pop in, but I'll probably pause just to check in with you also.
Perfect.
Okay, so for the next item, it's related to HR, and a couple ways you can get to this. I'm just going to go to my dashboard really quick. Okay, and I'm going to go over to my to-do tabs. Again, all of these tabs are configurable, and depending on your setup, you may not see some of these, but it's super easy to add tabs by clicking on this edit tabs option, and then you can add lots of widgets and reports and things to any of the dashboards. So a little bit of a refresher there, but within the My To-Do items, we have the My Mailbox widget. I personally love the My Mailbox widget because everything that I need to do is right here. Okay, so here's my to-do items, anything that I need to approve, also anything that I need to handle as far as checklists. And this is where we want to focus related to this release. So we'll go ahead and come into the new employee checklist. So we'll pretend for a second that Kathy is a new employee and she needs to complete her new employee checklist. I think all of this cold weather is slowing my internet down, so apologize for that, you guys. Okay, so right off, you can see I've got a welcome video here. So this is actually a YouTube video. This is a section called content that can be added, and you can attach a video. Okay, this is brand new. I'm really excited about it. And I want to give you a few use case scenarios here. This is one of them. If you wanted your CFO to record a video, maybe welcoming an employee to your company. Okay, so they could do that. Or maybe another use case is a training video. So in this case, this is like a sexual harassment video. Maybe your HR department, can, maybe they stand up in front of your new hires and talk about that. Or maybe you have a sexual harassment video or any sort of training video that's available on the internet. You can add that link in here. Okay, and the employees can go through and watch that. You can have the employee mark it as reviewed for your records. Another use case scenario that might be very helpful is like when it comes to related to benefits. So, I used to be in HR years ago, and I would stand up in front of employees and present benefits, what the options were related to the benefits. And with the option to add the videos within the system, you don't necessarily have to be live. And this is a big deal with COVID. So your new hire orientation, you could record it once and upload it here, tell the employees about the benefits in person if you wanted to, and then allow the employee to enroll through the benefit enrollment module piece of the HR system. So this is really exciting. I'm happy to have this available now. All right. So the next item that I wanted to get into, and I'll pause after this, Liz, just to see if we have any questions, but I'll jump right into saved lists. Okay, so this time I'm going to go over to the hamburger menu, and we'll go into our employee information report. So from here, what I want to talk about is the save list. Now, this was available in the old UI. With the new UI, it kind of went away, and now it's back. So a lot of you probably have used this before in the old UI, so I'm just going to quickly review it in here and give you some examples. So here, there's a filter in the top right-hand corner. So if I click on this little filter, you can see some tabs. I'm going to stay on the global tab, and I'm going to choose Browse. So from here, you'll see a couple main tabs and then kind of some sub tabs here. These employees I could pick individually. So I could pick these 2 employees if I wanted to, and create a list for those. Or I could create company groups. I could create a save list based on company groups or specific profiles, you know, such as a security profile or timesheet profile even. You can also access any saved lists that you've already created. Okay, you can see I've got 3 already created, but let's create a new one. So if I go to company groups, and we're just going to use a pretty simple one right now. So I'm just going to choose my active employees. I'm not paying attention to this number, just you'll hear me talk about that again in a second. So I'm just going to add to selection. Now notice it puts the employees in the selected tab. From here, I've got 54 employees. Now I want to do a save list as. And I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it active. And I'm going to go ahead and apply. Okay, notice now my list isn't all employees, it's 54 employees. Okay, notice my original list started with 65. So we're going to go ahead and apply. Now I only see my 54 employees. So again, you can access those saved lists that you have already saved and use that as a filter in other reports, as well as in this report. Okay, so from here, Liz, I'm just going to pause for a second. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay.
How do I add those charts and graphs under employee information?
Great question. So we have recorded some previous videos related to the charts and graphs. Your CSR can help you create some charts. We can share some videos with you. I'm going to kind of table that question. We can reach out to you offline. I'll have your CSR reach out to you to kind of walk you through how to add those. They're very simple, really gives you insight into the system. And each one of these charts that you're looking at, you can actually drill down into the data. So if I wanted to see just these 18 employees in the warehouse, I could click on this and it would only show me those 18 employees. So Liz, can you just make a note and we'll definitely reach back out to the person that asked that question.
Sure. Another question I have for you is, what is the difference between a list and my reports or my saved reports?
So my saved report, so from here, like you can see the 54 employees here. If I never want to have to create this filter or add this filter here, all I have to do is click on these 3 little dots right beside to the right here. And I'm going to do a save view or save as. So when I do a save as, it allows me to create, so I'll say active employees, and I can make it my default or share, and I'll save it. So now that saved report is always available to me, so I don't have to create that filter again. So that's the difference. So the filter is, you're creating the filter, and this just to filter the report may be a one-time thing, but if you do a save as, then it saves those settings so you don't have to create that filter again.
Perfect. Thanks, Misty.
Okay, great questions. Thank you, guys. Okay, so then we're almost finished. So we'll be right on, probably a little bit before the 30-minute mark. So now that we've got our list of 54 employees, I want to send a message to these employees. And I want to send it using the Broadcast Communicator. Broadcast Communicator is not new. I think I covered it a couple releases ago, but you'll get a little bit of a refresher on it. So I've got my 54 employees, and I want to tell them about a meeting that's happening March the 2nd. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this Communicate button. I've created the templates, and we covered this in one of the last releases that I did. So we'll go ahead and pick the template that is the all employee meeting. It automatically populates the information here. None of this is new. This has been available for several releases. What is new is the ability to schedule this. So this meeting is a couple weeks away. I don't want to have to, send this as a reminder to the employee now, because maybe they haven't, maybe it gets lost in their email because they didn't accept the invite. I want to send it actually Monday. So the ability to schedule this is new, and it's really cool. So I can say, you know what, I want the employee to receive this message on the 22nd at 8:00 a.m. And I set this, and this would email the employee, give or take a few minutes from 8:00, but it would email them on the 22nd around 8:00. Okay, and that would then come to them not just to their email, but it would also come to them as a notification in the system if your settings are set up that way. Okay, and then the last item that I'm going to review is the My Teams dashboard widget. Now this dashboard widget's been around probably 6 months, I guess, maybe a little longer than that. But it's a pretty cool, if you haven't got the widget added to your dashboard, I recommend it. The reason is because you've got a lot of shortcuts. You can search right on your dashboard for employees. You can, like I said, some shortcuts. So just simply by clicking on this little person icon here, it'll open up my quick links to navigate to various parts of the employee information section. And then you've also got some shortcuts found here. Okay, none of this is new. What is new is the ability to build filters that are remembered. So an example of that, if I only want to see active employees, I have this checkbox. But if I want to see everybody in this list or have the ability to look at everybody in this, I can apply. If I'm a multi-EIN company and I want to see both EINs versus employees that are in only one EIN, you can go ahead and just choose one or both. Okay, so once you set these, the system remembers it, but it's easy enough to make those changes as you need to, just simply by clicking on the filter. So you're getting, the system is really remembering these settings. All right, so Liz, any other questions?
I do. Who is the Broadcast Communicator email coming from? Is it the system?
It is the system. It's how you have that template built, or how you want it to look. You have the ability to determine what it looks like, who it's coming from.
Got it. And how do I change a setting to see all employees under team? I do not have this list on my dashboard.
Great question. So if I go to the add option here and I go to widgets, this is where you're able to add widgets to your dashboard. So if I click on the widgets option, you see I've got my team here. And there's a difference in widgets and charts. Okay, but this is the My Team widget, and all you have to do is, if you wanted to add a widget, just find it on the left-hand side, check the box that you want to add, and just simply click Add and apply. Once you do that, that widget would be added to the system, and I think the announcements probably appear on the bottom. If I don't like that this is on the bottom, easily, and this is a little bit of training, so easily I can rearrange these tiles and I can move this up. Okay, so now my announcements are, again, this is the last thing I'm going to cover because I know we're 1 minute over, but I can adjust this size also very, very easily by clicking the plus signs. Okay. So any of these tabs, you can do this. If you want additional tabs, click Edit tab and add additional tabs and use additional widgets. Okay, so great questions, you guys. If we did not get to your question, we'll definitely reach out to you offline. I do appreciate everybody taking their time. I really appreciate you guys attending these webinars, and I hope you guys have a great day and stay safe.